righty. Fred, what was your prior work experience?
Well, my prior work experience has been with primarily one company for the last 31 years, and that was Hewlett-Packard and their spin-off Agilent Technologies. I just retired in May from the company, and I was a manufacturing development engineer there, and I've been doing that same job practically in the same department for all of those years. So I was pretty specialized in what I did, and didn't move around a lot. I just enjoyed what I did, and they liked what I did, so I just stayed put.
Why did you decide to enroll at SRJC?
Well, you know, I've been coming to the JC since 1978, taking different classes. And initially, when I came to the JC, it was to try to get a better job at Agilent. And I was taking classes that would improve my my chances of moving up the ladder, so to speak. So I started taking classes in chemistry, and I took some business classes. And actually, it worked. I was able to move up pretty rapidly in a relatively short amount of time, and I really do credit it to the classes I took at the JC.
What have you been taking lately?
Well, lately, I would say, after I initially came to the JC and took those classes to kind of get ahead, and I made those positions at work, but then there was kind of a break in my attendance at the JC, so I started coming back to the JC in 2004, and that was after a 15-year break from the JC. Now, in between that time, I did take a few classes at Sonoma State and over at Cal Berkeley, but in 2004, I was starting to do a little bit of design work on CD covers, and I know a lot of young kids try to make their own CD covers, and when I started, I was getting recordings that were live recordings of bands that allowed their audience to record their music in a live format and distribute it to other fans without a fee. But that music always came without any kind of artwork or cover, and since I was getting these CDs without artwork, I thought, well, it'd be kind of fun to make some covers for them. And I had a program that came with a scanner that I had called Photo Deluxe Business Edition, and this was a program put out by Adobe, and I really had no idea who Adobe was at the time. But I started playing with it, and it was pretty much automated. There wasn't a lot of flexibility in it. It was a lot of presets that you would click, and I was able to make some, what I thought at the time were some nice, decent designs. But after a while, I thought that maybe I could do better. And I had a nephew who had interned at Adobe and had given me a copy of Adobe Photoshop, I believe it was 6. And so I switched from the Photo Deluxe program to this Adobe Photoshop 6, which I sort of heard about, but didn't really know too much about it. And I started digging into it, and I soon discovered that there was an awful lot to it that I did not know. And I was feeling a little bit frustrated, and I thought, well, maybe there's something at the JC that might help me with this. And I got online and looked it up, and sure enough, they had classes in Photoshop. So I thought, well, I'm going to take a class in Photoshop and see if this helps me out. And I found myself getting immersed in it, and I went through the whole Photoshop series at the time and got my Photoshop certificate. So that was kind of my start coming back to the JC.
And what courses are you planning? Hold it, I did that wrong. What I'm trying to get at, Fred, is I wanted you to tell us about the fact that you've got the graphic design certificate. So what courses have you recently completed?
Well, recently, my most recent completion, I've completed classes in the Applied Graphics department, which I now believe is called just graphic design. And so I've been taking courses in computer design work and the related classes that go with becoming a graphic designer. And so I just completed my graphic design certificate. But one thing I've noticed in going through those classes, prior to going through those classes, I went through a number of classes in the Computer Information Science department. I already mentioned I took Photoshop, but I also, once I took Photoshop, I decided, well, I'll